Hey crafty people, it's Tasha here for Trinity Stamps. Today I'm going to be playing with the Rainbow Brights slimline paper pad, but I want to show you how I turned it into an A2 card. So if you haven't seen this new paper pad yet, it's amazing. I love it. Absolutely gorgeous. The colours are so vibrant and bright, and it's just beautiful. So you get 2 of each sheet, and you get each of the different colours of the rainbow, and they are stripy one side and spotty the other. So I just went through and pulled out one of each of the colours that you get in the pack. I believe it's 9 different colours, and then you get the extra rainbow ones. So I've got all of my colours there, and I'm going to grab out my paper trimmer. I trimmed 1/2 inch from each of the colours because that's all I need. So this is a really good way to use up your scraps as well. If you've made quite a bit but you've only got a little bit left over, and this is a good way to use that up. But for me, I just wanted to make a stripy rainbow background. So I cut 1/2 inch from each of the colours. Then I just grabbed out some, it's just scrap paper, not quite A2 size, I think. I added some glue, and then I just started to stick down all of my stripes, my little spotty rainbow colour bright beautifulness. So I'm just adding a little bit more glue as I go. Liquid glue isn't always the best thing to do this with, but I had just got a new tape and it doesn't work. It's just not sticky at all. So I had no choice. So I just added some glue, and then I trimmed off that bottom piece, because I then grabbed out the modern embossed nesting A2 layers set, and I just chose a piece, one of the smaller pieces from there that would cut a nice size out of that stripy piece, and then used the next size up to cut from some black cardstock, because I want to mat the rainbows on the black, because I think that just helps it pop off the page a little bit more. So I stamped out the Creativity, I believe. Let me check. Yeah, I was right. I stamped out the images from the Creativity set, and I just coloured them in just quite basic in alcohol markers. I've sped this up quite a bit so that you're not sitting watching it for ages, but I wanted to give you a general idea of how I went about colouring each bit. I wanted a white cup because I thought that would be a nice contrast against that popping rainbow background that we've just created. So I just used 1 or 2 colours for each of the spaces. If there's slightly bigger space, then I use slightly more. If it's a slightly smaller space, less. You just want to be mindful that yes, you want to add some sort of contrast and some shadows and things, but when it's a really small area, if you're going to put too much ink trying to make too much contrast there, you're going to end up with it bleeding out, and we don't want that. So I just chose a few different shades for all of the different creativity tools, just to give me a sort of rainbow, but I didn't stick to I had to have one of each colour or bother about where I put them. I just put them wherever I thought that they would look nice. So for these scissors, I did those ones where you've got like a crinkle cut, and over here we have them in younger, and they tend to be 2 different colours, the handles, so that's what I decided to do with them. So I made it orange for one side, and then I grabbed out my red pen and I was colouring away, just adding the red, and then I moved my hand, and would you look at that? Oh dear, yeah, that is a bright red fingerprint directly on my cup, on his handle. I hadn't noticed it straight away. That was when I noticed it. I contemplated just starting again, but I thought, no, I'm gonna just carry on and we'll try to fix it. And you know, I could leave my mistakes out of these videos, but I think that I find it good when I watch these videos and people make mistakes and they show how they fix them. I just think that that's so much more helpful than just pretending that we're perfect, because no one's perfect. So I grabbed out my blender to try and soften that red that was actually on the handle of the cup itself. Just adding a ton of that blender pen to try and push the ink further into the paper and water down that pigment. Well, alcohol down the pigment. You know what I mean. I grabbed out the coordinating dies and I'm just going to cut my teacup and the creative tools, cut those out with those coordinating dies. They were stamped a little bit too close together for me to fit the dies next to each other, but there was no problem with cutting them. It was just the added extra around the die that just was butting up against each other, so I just trimmed that panel down. So here we have that rainbow striped panel that we created earlier, and I just added some liquid glue to that, and then I'm going to pop it onto the black panel that we also cut earlier, that's one size bigger. Then I cut the largest size from some Nina £80, and I think that's like skipping 2 sizes, I think. So I cut that from the largest modern embossed die so that all of my panels would have the same edging on. Then I grabbed out a sand eraser to try and erase some of it. I got some of the ink off with that. I got an electric eraser tool. I used that for a bit and got some more. You're not going to get rid of it all because, you know, alcohol ink soaks into the cardstock. That's what it does. And whilst we love that when we want that, it's not great when we don't. So I just grabbed out a white jelly roll and just covered up the rest of it with that. And when you've got the card in your hand, if you are looking directly at that bit and you know what you're looking for, then yes, you can see a bit of a pink tinge. But I think that it is more than enough coverage to carry on with the card. So while I had that white jelly roll out, I added a few highlights on my cup and on various pieces of the different tools. I stamped out the sentiment from the set that is steep in your creativity. I love it. I love a pun. And I love that Trinity have so many puns. It's amazing. So I stamped that out and cut that with the coordinating die. Again, I love that they have dies for all the sentiments. It's brilliant. And then I stuck the black and rainbow panel onto the centre of that larger white panel. Now I want to have my little cup sort of as if he's skipping along happily through the rainbow. So cute. And then the sentiment there as well. So I grabbed out, these are the thin foam squares, and I've not had these ones before. I've only had the really thick ones, but Trinity carried the thin ones and I love them. Yeah, they're really cool. It's not as dimensional because they're thinner, and I think that works quite well. So I popped some of those on the back of my little cup and on the back of my sentiment, and then I added both of those to the rainbow panel. I always add a little bit of glue onto any foam adhesive that I use. not because it needs it, just because that gives me a second to reposition when inevitably I need to. And then I grabbed the bubble blowout embellishments, and I'm using my new Trinity pickup tool to put those embellishments on. I love this thing because A, it's beautiful, and B, it works so well. Just to finish it off, for a little added extra, I grabbed a black glaze pen and I just coloured the eyes with that. I think that just sort of gives it a bit more life. So I hope that you like the card, I hope that you like the ideas, and that you will enjoy playing around with your Rainbow Brights Slimline paper pack. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I hope that you liked the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and if you aren't already subscribed, then we would love it if you would consider it. Have a lovely, happy, safe, wonderful week. Stay crafty. Bye!